and his entire agenda to seize America is failing. But does he have an ace up his sleeve? Is it the crisis is going to be so bad we all can only swim to the life raft of the federal government, even if it's a desert island, covered with government zombies? Or is it a new war? Is it a staged terror attack? I mean, if he's in total free fall, the worst in the last 100 years of polling with presidents, what does this mean?
I think you're one of the most astute people out there talking about this in the way that you're talking about it, because we saw the exact same things as well, in that when you look at the free fall that he's had in the polls and you compare it as to Carter, and then Bush was 1 percentage point higher, summer came, Bush was down in the dumps. People were making fun of him for taking a month-long vacation in Crawford, Texas, as the economy was sinking. Remember, we were just being hit by the dot-com bubble burst, and all of a sudden there was 9/11. So these people come up with schemes undreamed of, or things can just happen. One of the things that we're watching very closely is that the Obama administration is held back in releasing budget projections that were supposed to come out within a week. And now they're going to come out with them after Congress takes its recess in August. That's a big signal to us. So we're looking at that very, very closely, because there may be the shock of our lifetime in those numbers. No one's talking anymore about the green shoots. Remember that load of malarkey that they were spreading around, that money manure that was supposed to be pushing up the economy? So that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. Anything could happen. They come up with schemes undreamed of. But the reality is, in the final sense, is that, as we've been saying, the world is going to call it the greatest depression. In America, it's going to be called Obamageddon. The schemes that they've come up with these bailouts, buyouts, rescue packages, us owning corrupt companies like Citigroup and General Motors. I love it. General Motors, they brought back this guy Lutz, who was the vice chairman at General Motors. This is a genius, Alex, that came out in 2005, 2006, that said that anyone that thinks that high gasoline prices are going to hurt the sales of SUVs doesn't know what they're talking about. This is a champion they brought back now. Look what's going on with the Goldman Sachs gang. I've said this, and I'll say it again, and I've said it before, and I'll repeat it over and over again. I'm of Italian descent. I've heard enough mafia stories for the rest of my life. If the names on Wall Street were Salenti, Caruso, Mondavi, Rossini, Puccini, Abatelli, Puccio, they'd call it the mafia. Oh, it would be major news every day how the mafia is ripping off the country. We just gave these guys, how many billions of dollars, and now they're giving it back to themselves in bonuses. Oh, it would be big story. But you can't call the white shoe boys criminals. You could call them, these Ponzi schemes they talk about, but credit swap fault derivatives and collateral CBOs and SIVs. How about calling them, rather than exotic financial instruments, how about calling them con games and Ponzi schemes?
And grand larceny.
Grand larceny.
Well, Gerald Celente, there you are. I'm sure you've seen all these clips. Paulson last week, the congressmen were asking him, where's the $200 million you got personally? Is that not a conflict of interest? And how all the regulators were former Goldman Sachs. And he just said, no, it's no conflict of interest. And we were talking before you came on live about the shockingness of actually watching $23.7 trillion stolen in 10 months, greater than the GDP times 2. I feel like I'm in a dream here, Gerald.
Well, we're writing now. We're writing the Autumn Trends Journal, and this is the way we began it. And we're writing back from the year 2012, and we're looking to 2009. The greatest crime wave ever to hit America was sweeping across the nation. More lawless than the Wild West, better organized than gangland Chicago, a ruthless mob of financial bandits and political wise guys had taken control of the United States of America. Not a week went by without Wall Street and Washington committing world-class crimes, but all carried out under the cover of law. If perpetrated by individuals, it would have been called robbery, extortion, embezzlement, and fraud, and the perpetrators would have been indicted, hauled into court, and brought to justice. But because politicians and financiers were committing the crimes, it was just called legislation.
Unbelievable. And it seems to be a bottomless pit. I mean, they're seizing the entire economy, manufacturing, the carbon tax. Where does it end?
Well, here's the way we're looking at it. As you know, we keep repeating it, and it's worth repeating because it doesn't seem to hit a lot of people in their head the right way, is that you can't print phantom money out of thin air backed by nothing, producing practically nothing. We're now looking at the dollar taking another hit against the basket of currencies. Gold prices are back on the rise. We heard from China, Russia, India, Brazil. They all want to bail out of the bucks. So where is it going? The decline of Empire America.
Gerald Celente, Trends Research. We'll give you the website when we get back, listeners. Will they be able to pump it up one more time, or is this the big one? Is this the big implosion? Stay with us. Gerald Celente going right back to your calls coming up the next segment. When you say this is the greatest heist in history, I don't think people understand. You really mean that.
Well,
23.7 trillion, and they're grabbing every sector of the economy. And the green tax, the carbon tax allows the bureaucracy. I have the bill that they passed in secret, now public. As you know, I want your take on that. Allows federal agencies to raise taxes on toilet paper, beef, everything. I mean, this is government becoming God. You call that fascism, don't you? Go ahead.
Well, the merger of state and corporate powers, according to Mussolini, is called fascism. So if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, let's call it a spade a spade. It's fascism. And to pick up on the second part of what you were saying, and I was saying, was that first they went through this whole scheme of the money printing. Well, that's going to run out, as we're seeing now, with the diving of the dollar and other countries looking for new reserve currency. So the next scheme is to tax the people to death. And whether it's hassle taxes, again, current events form future trends. Pick up today's USA Today. Look at the parking ticket numbers that they're putting out there. Boy, if you jaywalk, they'll give you a ticket. Spit on the street, but rob the country blind, you can get an award for it, or they'll make you a Treasury Secretary. So the scheme, Alex, is after the printing game runs out, it's the tax to death game. And this whole thing, this whole notion of too big to fail, who came up with that one? I can say with full authority that their mother's not better than mine. What would happen if they failed? No one's ever told us, but yet we hear from Henry the Don Paulson at the last House Oversight meeting saying, quote, Our responses were not perfect, but I am confident that they were substantially correct and that they saved this country from great peril.
Well, look at how this psychology works. They can rape, they can steal trillions. They engineered the crisis on record, and then they're the savior. And if you don't give them what they want, they'll declare martial law, as Paulson threatened last year. Now there's been articles in the news, as you know, Gerald, saying how good it was he threatened martial law and how he's above the law and how the private Federal Reserve is above the law. The president isn't, the Congress isn't, the courts aren't, but they are, because they're the Eddie Haskell bankers.
And they're more than that, as I said. They're the Wall Street Mafia. It's Henry the Don Paulson. You read the New York Times, he bullied Congress. Bullied Congress? What do you mean bully? Who is this guy to bully Congress? Oh, and there's Jamie Legs Diamond from J.P. Morgan, and there's who's that guy from Citigroup that put this whole grand scheme together? Sandy Greedy Pig Weil. No, let's call them who they are. They're robbing this nation blind, and the people are either drugged. You know, we have gone from the home of the brave to what's happened to this country, that we have become so subservient and so federally dictated. We're not free and we're not brave as a nation. You know, people can make fun of the French all they want, but boy, the French got it down. Look what happened when that company was trying to shaft the employees out of their severance pay. You know, they threatened to blow the place up and all the equipment in it. When they do boss snappings, these are the people that brought us off with their heads. They know what it's like to be living under a tyrannical government where they say, let them eat bread. Now it's give them some health care.
Well, on top of this, when you look